Are you a consulting business owner seeking a better way to scale to your next million in revenue? Accelerate Sales Podcast features other experts who have cracked the code to predictable revenues with proven sales systems that quickly increase revenue and get you on the fast track back to doing what you do best. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Hello to the Accelerate Sales Solo Podcast, episode number 344. Today's topic is 3 ways to nail sales follow-up. You will learn 1, common mistakes I see over and over again. 2, most importantly, 3 ways to solve them. And 3, some scripts to help you nail your follow-up. If it's your first time to the podcast, welcome. And if you love what you hear, please subscribe. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Always appreciate a review. An iTunes review is fantastic. If you're also on Spotify, you can do a review there as well. Also, check out past shows on your favorite platform. Just search Accelerate Sales. And don't forget to go and listen to some of those amazing interview shows. So, the most obvious mistake I see people make around follow-up is not doing any follow-up or not enough of it, right? So I'm not going to repeat what you hear a lot of people say. And, you know, the rough rule of thumb is that sales follow-up is between 5 to 12 times. And just think about it right now. You know, how often do you, or how many times do you do follow-up? And I've got to say, you know, in all honesty, I'm pretty good at it, but I don't do it as much. And, you know, often I'll go back and just think, oh, like there was money sitting on the table that I let slip through. So it wasn't anything else other than not following up. And I also see people not having a defined follow-up period. So every script that we have, every follow-up script, we say how many days post do you do it? So is it 1, 2, 5, 7, whatever it is. But I think if you don't have those defined periods, it's very easy for follow-up to slip. Also, it's the words that people say, especially in the subject header and also the email. Now, obviously, the best way to ever follow up is using the same email. So you're just replying to it. But, you know, you probably use these and you probably get them. But, you know, words like circling back, I'm circling back, I'm following up, which is the absolute worst. And, you know, did you get my email, etc. You know, to be honest, they're pretty lame replies. And, you know, people know why you're contacting them again. But to make it dead obvious, I think, is missing an opportunity. And, you know, also the other one is that you write custom replies every time you do follow-up, right? So there's a whole lot of work, and often sometimes you're doing all of that work. And the last one is not using a sales CRM to you know, capture when to follow up. You know, there's either two people that I often work with. One is that they just don't use a sales CRM, which is okay, but it's not great, right? We've sort of gone past using manual diaries. It's the same with using Excel or some of the project management tools. They're just not as effective as what a good dedicated sales CRM. And then the other one is that they just don't have the process around using follow-up. So often, you know, they'll task for follow-up rather than having daily habits set up to do the follow-up. And I'll talk about it in a moment, that actually getting someone to help you is critical as well, because you don't have to do all that follow-up yourself. But before I continue and go into the 3 ways to nail it, I'd like to talk to you about Book Like a Boss. So in short, BLAB, B-L-A-B. Most of you would have used a scheduler before, Calendly, Acuity. You know, there's lots of great tools out there. But to be honest, I don't think they're as good as BLAB. And this is a personal thought. You know, I've used them all. I've had clients that use them all. But I just love BLAB, or Book Like a Boss, because it's got a great user experience. You can do custom branding. You can do questions. You can insert videos, just to name a few. And Book Like a Boss makes it really easy to manage multiple time zones. I live in Australia, and it's just so easy to manage my clients that are worldwide through Book Like a Boss. But, you know, don't take my word for it. Why don't you go check it out for yourself? Go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/blab. So let's go through 3 ways to nail your sales follow-up. So number 1 is have a system. So as I sort of mentioned in some of the common mistakes, use scripts, right? So don't have to customize it all the time. You can use scripts which can make it really quick. So for me, I've got all those scripts in my sales CRM, so it's called Copper. They're all there. So my team, they got a number against them, and I just might say to someone, we'll send 304 or send 306 or whatever it is, but it makes it very quick and easy to do it. Days to send them. So as I said, make sure you say, look, this one should be sent plus 5 days, plus 7 days. So once again, if you're using a virtual assistant or you're using a team member, it's very easy for them to know which one. And, a lot of people say, well, how can a team member write for me? Well, if you do the right the scripts in the first place, you've done most of the work for them. Also, make sure that they're embedded in your sales CRM. As I spoke before, make it a daily habit. So for me, I've got it in my diary where I've got specific sales time. I don't have, follow up with X. I just have go into my sales CRM to do that. But I also then tick off, I've got, 14 daily habits that make me successful. And it's in an app called Done, D-O-N-E, it's on an Apple, and I just make sure that I'm ticking that off so I never miss the follow-up. The other one is just go back and have a look at your months worth of people that are potential clients in your sales CRM, and you'll just find, if you do it once a month, you'll just find some stuff that slipped through the cracks. No process is perfect, so don't assume that the process is. So that's number one, have a system. Number two is add value. Right, so ask permission to send them something. So I always say, are you open to this? It's, if you've been listening to me for a while, you'll know that I love that word. But add value relating directly to their biggest pain point. So you might have had an initial qualification call or something like that. You're waiting for them to book their next call. You know exactly what their pain point is. So send them something of value there. They already know that you're following up, right? So we all understand that. But why don't you do it in a way that adds real value rather than, I'm circling back or I'm following up or some of the mistakes that I mentioned before. And what are some examples of that? So, a podcast episode could be great, or a certain part of a podcast episode, a framework. So, for example, they might, for me, I know that getting referral partners and who goes before you, who goes after you. So I'll actually send them a specific part of my framework that they would get as a client, but I'd send them that relating to their pain point. So that's the second. So one was have a system, two was add value, and now number three is give options. Before we get into a sales call, it's really hard to know what people need. So, you reach out to someone and often you've read their profile, you've had a look at their website, etc., but you're sort of guessing as to where exactly they're at, right? So, and often, if you're sending a message out, through LinkedIn or email and you don't get a reply, you also make meaning up. Well, what was it? Why aren't they replying? Is it something I said? Is it something I didn't send? Right? So it all goes into sort of subjective land. And what I've used is a simple script that's working quite well. So I say, I respect your time and I'd love to know what you would like me to do from here. Right, so you're getting them to be in the driver's seat for this. And I just list 4 simple options. One is, do you want me to continue to reach out? 2 is, do you want me to wait until you reply? Number 3 is, leave it for now and add me to your list, or, which is my list. And 4 is, not for me, thanks. And I just say, please reply with a number so I'm not guessing what to do next, with a little smiley face. Thanks in advance. And I find that works really well. And, for you, if you'd like to get access to all of my scripts, because as I said, I've got about 340 of them now, just email me at paul@paulhiggins.com. So 3 key actions from today. 1, avoid the common mistakes that I mentioned before. And if you want, go back and re-listen. 2 is implement one of the 3 actions. So system, value add, and options. And also email me to get those scripts. You can get all the links in the show notes at paulhigginsmentoring.com podcast. This is episode 344 on your app that you're listening to now. And I always recommend Pocket Cast app. Follow me on LinkedIn where I've got some great content and you'll see this plus my interviews. If you know someone interested in follow-up and sales follow-up, please share it with them. You could be their sales hero. Please take action to accelerate your sales.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.